Well, it's time. Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for me, I think noon Eastern time, we submit our wish lists and see what events we get for Gen Con this year. I hope y'all stayed up all night to go through that event list because there are more events at Gen Con this year than there have ever been. And that list was beefy. Man, there was a lot of stuff on there. I've gotten pretty good at like culling the list and like just knocking things out. Like I used to get very precious. I used to be very precious about it. But there's like 22,000 events right now. And if I accidentally kill one that would have been fun, there are hundreds and hundreds more that I will also have a great time at. I've got lots of good stuff. Mostly this year I'm focusing on board games. I didn't want to commit like 4-ish hour slots to as many RPGs. So I'm focusing mostly on board games and like entertainment style events. Let's see, I'll be at the Stink at some point for sure, but there's a board game happening at the same time that I'm curious about. And let's see, I'm going after like co-op board games a lot more this year. There's Masters of Crime Vendetta, I think that's by Cosmos. There's Now Boarding, which is an older board game, but I haven't played it before, so I figured I'd try it. There's The Art Project, which is in like art recovery board game. There's A Message from the Stars that looked like a board game where you like decode like an alien language or messages. That sounded really interesting. Then there's Mission Control Critical Orbit, which sounded like a sci-fi spacey game that sounded real good. And some of the entertainment events that sounded really good are All Himbos 2. I'm a huge fan of Danny's and I'm so excited to see him, on this, like, I don't know, entertainment event. That'll be really fun. I want to go see the McElroy's Extravaganza event. I think that would be super fun. Then there's like a drag queen event and that's just like super fun. That's at the same time as Dungeons and Do-Rags, which also sounds super fun. So we'll see. I'm going to put tickets in for both. And if I don't get the first, maybe I'll get the second. And I want to try, I love the board game route and Magpie's doing a ton of demos for like 2-hour sessions for the RPG. So hopefully I get to try that. That would be fun. And my staples are Card Hala and the costume parade, and I might do the Gen Con opening ceremonies. I don't think they have a band this year, but that would be really fun. And yeah, I'm just curious, what events are you doing this year? What are you looking forward to? And yeah, I'm so excited. We're almost there, guys. Also, if you are going to your first Gen Con this year, I'm so excited that you get to go. It's gonna be the best. And I bet right now you're probably really overwhelmed with everything because hotels is such a crazy process to try to get a room, and we're still months out before the show, but there's 22,000 events and you gotta find the like 10 to 20 that you care about and then submit a wish list, and who knows how the wish list lottery will work out and if the gods will favor us. And I know it can be really overwhelming, but here's the thing. Gen Con is massive and awesome, and there's so much stuff at Gen Con, and that can be intimidating or overwhelming. But the way I look at it is there's so much cool stuff to do at Gen Con. No matter what, I'm gonna have a fun time. I may not get to do everything, and Gen Con is not the show where you do get to do everything because there's too much going on. But you're gonna have an amazing time, even if you don't get everything that you wanted or if you don't get it perfect. So that should take some pressure off. There's just so much weird stuff. Like, what is some of the weird stuff that I saw? So I mentioned some of the ones I really like. Dungeons and Do-Rags, the drag queen one sounded really good. D&D's doing a panel or a seminar about their new player's handbook that's coming out. Warhammer is doing laser tag, where you get to have like either Necron or like bolter guns like from the actual game, but it's laser tag. I'm gonna sign up for Artemis, which is a game, if you choose the Gen Con one, it's like a bridge simulator like from Star Trek, and there's actually a bridge with the chairs and the consoles, and you get to like, you have a little monitor and everybody gets a job and you do the whole Star Trek thing. I've always loved that. I try to do it every year. Card Hala is the thing where everybody throws coins at this huge card tower thing that we've built over the weekend, and all the money gets donated to charity, so that's really fun. Costume walk Saturdays, very good, don't miss it. God, there's so much cool stuff. Let me ask Derek actually what he would recommend like trying out. But I guess that's the number one question that people ask is like, I'm going to Gen Con for the first time. What should I not miss this year? Or what is the thing that everybody does? And I think that's such an interesting question because it's the same question I asked when I first started going. And there's no great answer to that. You should do the things that you love and that you're interested in or curious about, because games and board gaming inherently tends to be smaller groups of people unless you're doing it as a LARP or a performance, right? Performances can have hundreds of people, LARPs can have hundreds of people, but generally board games are like 2 to 10 people, and RPGs usually like what, 4 to 6 or something. So nobody can recommend a game that you should go to because it only is going to seat so many people. For a while, Call of Cthulhu was like the most popular thing, and everybody said that you needed to do that. But I think that it's important you do things you love and that you like. And if you need an anchor point for things that I recommend checking out, that you do in between then, you know, the events that you might want to try and do, I would say do the costume walk. Like, don't walk it necessarily unless you want to, but watch the costume walk. I think it's 2 p.m. on Saturday. Plug in Cardhala, which is at 10 p.m. on Saturday. The balloon destruction of the guy who makes all of the big balloon creatures is, I believe, noon on Sunday. Do not forget to schedule yourself time for the exhibitor hall. It opens at 10 a.m. on Thursday, so I don't plan anything Thursday before noon. I want to get in there. I want to get excited. I want to feel the just the excitement in the air from everybody, and I want to see everybody in the same place. So I usually make sure I do that. And beyond that, the world's your oyster. Actually, if you're not sure what board game to play, you might want to do the first exposure playtest hall thing, like get a ticket to that, and then you get to try and demo and play a ton of different games that have not been released yet. They're still playtesting it, and they'll ask you questions after you played it that your answers can actually impact the design of the game, and they may make changes to the design of the game before they publish it based on the feedback you've given. It's really cool, and I've had a ton of fun in there before. If you're coming with friends, they've got a massive board game library. Used to be in the stadium, not sure if that's still the case this year. You know, you can get a ticket to that and just hang out there a bunch. There's also the auction. I don't know where they are this year, but if, you know, that's just, not even if you're participating, but just to look at it and check it out, that's really fun. And then there are always performances and performers in the hallways that are fun to engage with. There's also non-gamery things happening at Gen Con if you're like wanting to take a break from that. The gaming's getting a lot. There's a ton of crafting happening, knitting, crocheting, making chainmail, making all sorts of cool things. There's a lot of fitness and like movement stuff happening, yoga and exercises and weightlifting and dancing, and that's super cool. You can learn to paint minis. You can speed paint minis. There's a blood drive. You can donate blood. Yeah, it's just, there's so much going on. There's something for everybody. You're going to miss something. You can't do it all. So just have the best time you can with what you're setting out to do. And I just can't wait. Oh my gosh, it's McGriddle. Let's say hi. Hi, McGriddle. Hi. Hello. Hi. Oh my gosh. You're so excited. Is that your corn? Yes. Good girl. Let's go say hi to Derek. Come on. And of course, me and my group have left everything to the last minute, like we always do. I'm in a chat with Matt and Stuart and Kenda trying to figure out like what events we all want to do together and which ones don't align. So that's great. In terms of like who's coming this year, we've got a couple of traders like Sandor. What the hell? Anyway, dead to me. Matt is going to be there. He's back this year, and I couldn't be more excited. And congratulations, Matt, on getting married last year. And a long time returnee is coming back. Kenda has not been back at Gen Con for many years, and I'm just so excited to see her. And then Stuart's going to be there, and Stuart, he's my rock. I'm so glad he's gonna be there this year, so that's awesome. And yeah, that's kind of the core crew this year. There'll be a few more Andrews coming, a couple of people, so it's gonna be fun. Remember, your wish list, submit it on time. There's a countdown on the Gen Con website that tells you when to submit it. Submit it as soon as that countdown goes to 0. That's your best chance of getting the tickets to the things you want. The system goes through the wish list in order of how you have the wish list set up. So the event at the top is going to be the first event that the system checks for tickets for. And as it goes down, it will keep checking. So if you have 2 events for the same time slot, you cannot get tickets for both of those events unless there's like some small exceptions. Whichever event is first, the system is going to check if it has tickets. If it does, it is not going to give you tickets for the second event at the same time slot. If your first event didn't have tickets left, it will go to the second event for that time slot and let you get tickets for that, if there are some available. That's an important thing to remember. And then also, there's a limit on how many events you can get tickets for initially in the first round of submitting your wish list. And that is, I believe, 50 events. Not 50 tickets, but 50 unique events. So just make sure you don't have more than 50 events in your wish list when you're submitting it. Well, hi Derek. How have you been?
Busy. My team's been working real hard for a couple weeks now, and we have a record number of events.
I would say months.
Well, yeah, but like especially a couple weeks.
So since January, you guys have been going through events, working with publishers and game organizers. Is that what they're called? Event organizers, and getting their events ready. But I do think it really ramped up in the last month or so. I think you all have been putting on so many extra hours. Yeah.
I mean, I think we had what, 21,200 something events right now. And last year, right around the launch, I think we had 17,000 at most. So that's a pretty huge jump. That's what, 6,000 more events? No, 4,000 more events? 4,000 something. So it's a ton more events. We're out in the Hilton this year, finally. I was worried we were going to get there last year, but we have already jumped to it and mostly filled it this year. So people should find something. We do have more late events coming, but they'll be a little while yet.
Do you have advice for people's first Gen Con?
For your first Gen Con, I recommend that you don't book yourself to back-to-back events unless they're in the same location. And I recommend that I see you looking away. So don't book yourself to back-to-back events unless they're in the same spot. And if it's your first time, I recommend maybe not booking yourself for more than 2, maybe 3 events a day, if they're short.
I feel like you're talking to me.
No, I'm not talking to you at all.
Okay.
But like for a newbie, 1 event, maybe 2 events a day, totally okay. Because it gives you a little bit of stuff, but just especially if you're for your first couple times at Gen Con, you're going to be very overwhelmed and distracted by new exciting things anyway. So just give yourself some time to find what it is at Gen Con you're excited about, and then go do that. You can't do everything, so don't try.
Anything people should look out for?
I don't know, like I've been so focused on just getting raw events out that I haven't had a chance to see what's being released or what key things are. I would look at some of the stages, look at some of those kinds of key events. Like the Dungeons and Desi's or Desi and Dungeon, one of those 2. The Jasmine Bueller thing I was telling you about. There's the Dungeons and Do-Rag stuff, things like that. Oh, the Drag Race one, or Drag Queen one.
I think it's amazing to see how much work that y'all have put into it, and then to see that work like become real, you know? Like it starts filling up people's schedule and starts feeling like it's really happening, and we're getting closer. And yeah, I'm excited for it. Thank you for all the hard work that you've put in. I know how hard you've been working, and it's been a lot of weekend work, so I'm just glad that we're at a point where you can relax a little bit.
I'm still going to do a little bit of extra work.
No! All right, we're gonna wrap up. Bye!
Bye! Bye! Alright, fine. I didn't want to actually leave.
Oh, this is George. We're dog sitting George right now. Yeah, he's a good boy. All right, bye-bye.